Can't believe it took them a year to come up with that.
I think it's like the one size fits all because there are some states where you as a individual have to actively agree to being recorded, right? So someone probably sued them saying people are recording me without my active acknowledgement.
Ohio is it a 1 or 2 party consent state? I forgot.
No idea. That I do not know.
Okay, we are good. June 21st, Village Council meeting. We called this meeting, this is not our normal council meeting, just so we could read some legislation, get some stuff rearranged, and that's pretty much it. So this is pretty much a read legislation meeting and go from there. So we are going to do roll call like usual. Councilperson Shrimp.
Here.
Councilperson Bruger.
Here.
Council President Wolf.
Here.
Councilperson Curl.
Here.
Councilperson McNamara.
Here.
Councilperson Benindetti.
Here.
Awesome. Okay. Meeting minutes, June 14th. We were able to get those done. Does anybody have any problems, questions, concerns, anything?
Move to approve.
Perfect.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I
Opposed? Extensions?
Aye.
Anything? All right, we're good. Okay, I'll flip it over to Mark.
Okay, what we're here for, reading some legislation. Let's start with 2021. Let me get down to it. Where are you? There you are. 2021-22, a resolution affirming the appointment of Anthony Southard as a full-time police officer for the Village of Minerva Park. First reading has been read. 2021-23, resolution declaring the necessity for a renewal levy of a tax exceeding the 10 mil limitation and requesting that the Franklin County Auditor certify to this council contain information pursuant to revised code 5705 and 300s. And I'm going to be asking us to waive and pass. Mayor, would you like to give us an explanation, please?
Yes. This is a document that we've already passed in my world once. We did the necessity, we did everything that we thought we needed to do, and Franklin County reached out to us and let us know that they wanted it done a little differently than we have done in the past. So these are just documents that, again, we have already done, except we're gonna do it Franklin County's way. So in order to get this on the ballot, we need to get this part done because there's gonna be another document that we will need to have done. Also waiving the readings and passing as an emergency to actually get it on the ballot before August. I believe the deadline is August 3rd, but there's no way we can do 3 readings and all of that with both documents. So, and clearly we don't want to wait till the last minute. If this is something that we want on the ballot, we want to make sure that we get it there.
And it seems like they're sort of changing things on us, so we want to make sure we get it in case we do it the way they don't like it again.
Yep.
So I am going to move to waive the second and third reading of this.
second.
Any discussion? Anyone against it or what have you? I guess we'll find out when we vote.
Roll that call.
All
Yeah.
right. Councilperson Benindetti,
Aye.
Council President Wolf,
Aye.
Councilperson McNamara,
Aye.
Councilperson Curl,
Aye.
Councilperson Shrimp,
Aye.
Councilperson Bruger.
Aye.
All right.
All right, having waived the second and third reading, I don't see where you are requesting this to be passed as an emergency. Can we just pass it as normal
I
or?
think it's normal because it doesn't have to, because it's getting put on the ballot. And I believe actually, let me say this. Jesse worked with Franklin County to get this document together. So I believe that the document is correct. I don't believe it needs to be an emergency, just waive the readings.
Okay, that would make sense since it's just putting something on the ballot. That's a built-in referendum anyway.
Yep.
Okay, so I will move to pass this as an emergency.
No,
Second.
What?
no.
No, not as an
No,
emergency.
Pass it.
It's
Oh,
passed.
not as emergency, pass as is.
Yes.
That's right. Thank
Second.
you, guys, for paying attention to the words I say.
All right, let's do roll call. Councilperson Curl,
Aye.
Councilperson Shrimp,
Aye.
Councilperson Benedetti,
Aye.
Council President Wolf,
Aye.
Councilperson Bruger,
Aye.
and Councilperson McNamara.
Am I out of phase or sync here? Things seem kind of choppy on my end, voice wise.
You're slower.
you-
I mean, not like that, but yeah, like
All right,
it's.
to me.
Well, I'm aware of that, Madam Mayor.
Sorry. There's like a delay with you, I feel like, but I just thought I thought you were on mute, to be honest. I just thought you kept pushing the mute button. I don't know. We're good.
All right, that means we can move to the next one that has been waived and passed. The next one. A resolution to authorize an advance to the Village Facilities Fund and to declare an emergency. Looks like we are waiving readings perhaps on this, or at least that's the expectation of admin. And we are advancing $75,000 from the general fund to the Village Facilities Fund. What's that about there?
So this is we do have money that is currently in the facility fund. We don't have enough money in the facility fund. So this is the Diane's question that she asked at the last one. Did we have enough in there? There's two documents because there's a resolution that's going to advance. You see the word advance because once we get the loan, we plan on paying back the general fund. So this was a document that we had been, you're going to see some basic information. We were hoping to be a little bit, I don't want to say a little bit further along with Huntington or Fifth Third or whatever, but we don't have specific, if you can see, it says like Financial Institute instead of something specific. But Diane asked the question, we don't have enough to do the entire project in there. And from the meeting the last time, we felt maybe we should get the money in there as soon as possible. So that's what this advance is for. Instead of waiting a month or two and then putting the money in, since we did pass the legislation, we're going to go ahead and do this, advance it from the general fund and then reimburse it later. That's the goal.
Gotcha. We have money.
You're gonna,
sitting
and
around.
just so you know, you're gonna see an ordinance a little bit further down. That is the second part to that, the actual appropriation. So this is part one of two. This is just the advance.
Okay, so we need to pay Garmin Miller. We don't have those funds earmarked just yet. We have enough in the general fund to cover it, but then we plan to reimburse it once the loan goes through.
Well, it's not a loan though, right? You're not talking about
Not
actually.
alone. We're basically
This is-
gonna wrap this up in the cost of the building, financing of the building, if I'm
Right.
understanding.
Yes,
Okay,
eventually this money would come, this
That was my
is coming
impression.
from the general fund. It would
Right
eventually
now-
come from, depending on exactly how we end up doing the financing, would reimburse the general fund for this amount of money.
But it's just basic, it's coming out of the general fund right now.
It's
Right.
coming out of the general fund and it's not like the reimbursing makes it sound like we're gonna be made whole and we're not. We're
We'll-
gonna be
we'll-
out
It
$75,000.
would be coming with the loan. It would be coming from the bond, the loan, whatever you want to call it. Whatever we
If
end
it
up
ever
doing.
goes through. You know,
Yeah, if we don't go any further, yeah, if everybody decides not to go any further, it's coming from the general fund. That's probably the nicest way to say it.
If we decide to just wait till we have all the engineering done and then not go forward with the building, we wouldn't need to take out a facilities loan or bond or however we would do it. And yeah,
Or we would do it next year. If
Yeah.
if the numbers come in too high, we do it in 2022 or 2023. This is still the design as we discussed. This is still going to get us to that point if we need to have it rebid in a year or two, which is not the goal. We would have it done. All right. Why does this keep-
Rebid again. We haven't bid this the first time, have we?
No,
No, we have
that's what
not.
this is for.
We don't
Sorry.
even have plans ready to bid yet. That's what phase 2 is getting us to bid ready plans.
And what is just,
isn't that what this phase is?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're in
this-
phase 2.
So this 75,000 is, how much was in that fund anyway? Was it
116 minus 75,000,
60?
Huh?
Pardon me?
approximately
41.
116 minus, yeah, there you go.
Oh, it is still
We're only
160
advancing
because
75.
I understand. It was just when the village planner had implied that it wasn't established, it wasn't for sure the number, but you're saying it is for sure the number, the one.
That's the number we're currently using.
116.
Okay,
We're gonna stick with that number until we are given a different number. And then we'll come back to you guys. As you're fully aware, you know, I'm more than willing to come right back to you.
Mhm.
You just giggled. All right,
Okay, well, we'll see what goes through. I will move to waive the second two readings so we can get this taken care of and keep the project on track.
Second.
Oh, go ahead. You can give that one to Tony.
perfect,
Moved and seconded. Call that roll, please.
perfect. Councilperson Shrimp,
aye.
Councilperson Bruger,
Aye.
Council President Wolf,
Aye.
Councilperson Curl,
Aye.
Councilperson McNamara,
I,
Councilperson Benedetti.
No. I voted no in the first place. I feel it would be appropriate.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
get
no,
it.
That's true. That would be appropriate.
Okay, so we have 5, so the readings have been waived, so now we can move to pass as an emergency.
Passing as emergency, as mentioned the last time when we had something with this, passing as emergency allows us to progress forward with it without waiting the 30 days. And according to our legal counsel, I believe, since this is phase 2 of a project that is already past the initial referendum date, a referendum wouldn't be in order anyway, so we are not taking away that from anybody. That option, I should say.
That remains
go
to
ahead.
be seen. Just because there's case law doesn't
True.
mean that someone can't put in a referendum on this.
You are correct, but
But if we
case
just
law
pass
on
it
that
as
side,
emergency, they
it
won't be
takes a
able
lot to overturn that.
Right.
Okay, so precedent says it would not be able to be referendum anyway. Precedent can change. I will acknowledge that. That being said, I move to pass as an emergency.
Second.
All right, Councilperson Curl,
Aye.
Councilperson Shrimp,
Aye.
Council President Wolf,
Aye.
Councilperson Bruger,
Aye.
Councilperson Benedetti,
No.
Councilperson McNamara.
I,
Awesome. All right, we're good on that. And then next,
All right, 09/2021, an ordinance to make supplemental appropriations for the current expense of the Village of Minerva Park for the year 2021, increasing the capital outlay by 67,000. This one I can just explain. We buy a new police cruiser every year to replace and keep the fleet going. This is that, correct? This is the money that would be budgeted for next year's car. We want to put the order in early due to all the various troubles and supply issues with new cars to make sure we get in line in a good place. Correct?
Correct.
All right, and this is just a second reading, so unless anyone has any questions or comments, it has been read.
all right.
I have one very brief question, if possible. So doing it this way and maintaining a fleet the size we have has been shown to be a net cost saver, correct? I thought I had been told that at one point. I just wanted to be sure that we're being as financially prudent and efficient as possible in doing
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, basically what we have seen from doing it this way, at least as has been described to us by our police chief, is that because we are not, we are drastically reducing our maintenance cost by doing it this way. That in the past, we would have experienced much higher maintenance in that last extra year than we are seeing under the current program.
Although
No,
I
I
will
don't know
say
that that's
that is
been-
him saying maintenance costs are low and not showing me this is how much we save in maintenance versus the cost of a new vehicle. Because new vehicles are expensive.
I don't
And,
believe
you know-
that there's been any kind of, keeping track of maintenance costs that we're not incurring now. I mean, that's,
We
I
have
don't know that
it's
that's
something that
exactly the case.
it's something that could easily be tracked. I mean, there's no question about that. We don't have a car in
Could we
service all the
considering
time.
so, maybe with finance or safety?
Exactly. The moral of the story is what people don't necessarily understand is when you have a cruiser that's sitting out in front for an 8-hour shift and it runs for 8 straight hours, that puts wear and tear on an automobile. If you flip a title over, that's one of the, hang on a second. Sorry. When you have cars that are running 8 hours straight, that's something that is going to be wear and tear on a motor. If you flip a title over, there's actually a place on there that asks, is this been used as a police vehicle or whatever? When you go to sell a car because of the wear and tear on a police vehicle. Obviously it accelerates fast, brakes slow. The wear and tear on 3 automobiles ends up being quite significant. The other part to this is when you have officers that, are going to certain, if there's a funeral, if there's this, if there's that, they're taking an automobile. So imagine if you have one car, this is going back to the 3 versus the 4 or whatever. So imagine you have one car in the shop, because that was quite often, you have one car at a funeral, then that leaves you with one car. If that car breaks down, you're screwed. Nicest way to say it.
What
I
about-
was always, hang on, Tony, you yelled at me for interrupting you. So I'm going to, the last time, so just let me finish. I was also a huge fan of why are we buying a 4th automobile? Period, end story. Everybody knows this, go back and watch the other video.
Yeah, that's just where I'm at. I'm not
Exactly.
against the
Well-
proposal. I just want to see that it's
Correct.
working as intended.
So the thing that people don't see is there are times in which you can go past the community building and all of the cars are gone. I don't know what's going to happen with the resource officer. I really, truly don't. And when you start thinking about why are they taking a car down there? Because that's what they work out of. I mean, once again, it's like telling the WOW guy to go to work and not take his work truck with him. That's part of being a police department. But wear and tear on a car, running them 8 hours straight. They do run 8 hours straight. If you have a car gone, if you've got one in the shop, that leaves you with one. What are you going to do? We are a real, true life police department. We need to act like one. Maybe some people aren't going to like me saying that, but that's the moral of the story. So when we trade these cars in, we get $7,000 from them. The insurance does not fluctuate. For the record, we took an entire EMS department off of our insurance policy and I about had a heart attack. Our insurance went down $200. And Brian's laughing because he probably already knew that. I had no idea. So insuring the automobile is not the issue. The trade-in value on the car is almost pointless to get rid of this car if you're actually going to keep it and continue to rotate these cars the way that you're doing it. So
Okay,
that's, go
are you
ahead.
done?
Go ahead.
Well, how much is it it's costing us what, $30,000 a year to buy a new car? If you take the 7,000 off, I mean, I'm not sure how much they are exactly, but it
No.
costs us $30,000
A
a
new
year.
car's over
This
50
ain't-
grand.
What's that?
A new car is probably over 50 grand.
Okay, so it's 50, so say it's $40,000 a year.
Right.
To say that we spend $40,000 a year on maintenance for 3 other vehicles is,
No, Tony, you're not talking about 1 year. You're rotating them every 4
what if you
years.
just do it
So-
on a 2-year rotation?
So,
This is
so
something we'll talk about another time.
yeah,
but-
if I could
I've
suggest,
I've heard
Tony,
the other side, your side of the story, Mayor, and
And
the
you're
chief
fine.
side of the story about the cost of and why we need to have the vehicles. I don't think it's been, the dollars, that it's been analyzed or that we've looked at how much the maintenance is. Because
So-
like I just got finished saying, that's $40,000 a year for a car. There's no way we're spending $40,000 a year in maintenance if you could switch to a 2-year rotation.
So, Tony, you being the chair of the safety committee are the person in the perfect position to get to the bottom of that. Right? You can
I
request
would
that the
be,
police
I'd be
department
supportive in that.
actually get you numbers
That's a finance
and
thing.
work that out. Well, no, if you'd like finance to do that, I'm the chair of the finance. So what you're saying is that you do not believe, because again, our current police chief has indicated that this is an optimal way of doing that. And what you're saying is that you would rather not take it up with him. You'd like us to investigate that through finance.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, then
Because
I
I'll-
will, for
I'll
our
make
next finance committee meeting, we will make a request of the fiscal officer to get us some numbers so that we can review exactly how that works. And we will leave that until the next finance committee meeting, which is already scheduled for the 28th, if memory serves.
I'll make a sidebar comment, and that is that there's no base radio station for the police in the police station. And so part of the reason these cars run is that's their entire communication system aside from transportation.
And you're right, 5:30 in person for finance, Brian.
Yep.
So I would like to, regarding this particular piece of legislation, which is just to start the purchase process early for car number 4, which would normally be done at the end of this year, start of next year. Since we just are borrowing just about that amount of money, interesting enough, from the general fund as it is, I would vote, I'll be voting no on, not on car 4, but on authorizing the money for car 4 this year versus next year. So that's my take.
Again, that's totally fine. We'll vote for it on the, if Brian decides, or if somebody decides, we'll vote for it on Monday. Third reading's Monday. If there's 3 or 4 votes, then we move forward. If we don't, we don't.
Will the
If it brought to your
finance
guys'
meeting,
attention, that's the good news.
will the finance meeting take place where
Yeah.
those numbers can be assessed? Okay,
Oh, actually,
okay, yeah,
yes.
again, I'm sorry I opened a
before.
can of worms here. I'm not opposed to the program. I think 4 cars for a community of our size is probably about the upper limit of what I assume is
Well,
good, but
and again, we should be clear that this particular piece of legislation is not about the number of cars, but
Mhm.
whether or not we are going to engage in the activity of buying the car 2 months early,
yeah,
right? Because this is a process that we would have normally started in September or October, but because we know that the lead time for purchasing vehicles is hosed thanks to the condition of the automobile market and shortage in certain chips for automobile computers, that we are trying, that our police and our administration is trying to get ahead of that. That is the purpose of this.
yeah.
Right. And other than that, I understand talking about it in finance, but I'm going to throw, if we're not talking about that, then this needs to go back to the safety committee as to whether or not, because that needs to be a discussion with the chief, trying to pull one of his cars and, doing all of that and putting them. I mean, I think that needs to be a discussion with the chief. Sorry. I agree with the finance part to this to an extent, but
You could even put this in the
What-
communication committee because there's no base
No.
station in the police station.
no, I don't think it has
No,
anything to do with
that-
communication.
that's
This
not where it
this is
belongs.
probably a discussion with the chief.
And at
Well,
this point, I don't think anyone has brought up an option of going down to only 3 cars.
Oh,
I
heck no.
believe the only option it was delaying the purchase of each new car by a year.
Well,
Getting
and
5
the
years
next-
out of a car
right.
instead of 4.
well,
Yeah,
there
I-
is going to be a discussion as to whether or not we sell car 4.
Right. I know what, eventually you're going down that path, but that's not what this ordinance is about.
You're correct.
About appropriating money that was normally appropriated for next year. And I am just saying from a finance point of view only, not getting all emotional about the cars, but from a finance only, I say that given the fact that we've just allocated or just borrowed from the general fund for something else for that much, I think we're a little overboard in pushing our money around, but that's just my impression with the limited information I get from finance.
I agree, Diane.
Then-
I completely agree with you.
I
Then
think
why don't we-
5-year
we
will-
outlay
let's- can-
or
uh,
5
uh,
years
you-
at the end of this year is, we're supposed to be 6 figures in the black. I mean, I'd have to go back to my meeting.
Hold on. Why don't we, as a
Thank you.
takeaway from the finance committee, we will have the fiscal officer opine on the fiscal smartiness of this action, right? And if our fiscal officer feels that it is an appropriate and fiscally sound action, we can reference that opinion because they are the person who would most be aware of our incomes and outgoes, and be best acquainted with our forecasts. And I think we should probably leave it for there because everything else is opinion and conjecture,
correct.
and we're not going to move anything forward with that at this time.
And it's a second reading. So
Well, I have a quick question, Mayor Hughes.
go for it.
If police communications and their radio system and microwave towers and all that, that doesn't come under our communication, where does that come under?
Safety.
Safety? Okay.
Yeah.
Day-to-day operation of the police will be safety committee.
Yes.
Joe, I
No,
don't
but
think we have any
what Joe is
problems.
asking is, it's the dispatch, we use Franklin County dispatching, we use that technology.
Right, which is
Right.
all done through admin and the police.
Well,
department.
I was going by what our own officers tell us is that there are only radios in their car.
Right, that's what we can afford, Joe, and I think if researching something more than that would definitely probably start in safety, because even the chief doesn't think we can afford anything like what you're talking about, but having that discussion in safety would make sense.
If the chief
Well,
thinks we need to have, because
I-
we've talked about this, Joe. I don't know why you're all of a sudden bringing up radios. We've got a system that's been working.
Well,
and-
because the radios are in the cars, Tony. So I
That's
was just
part of the
asking,
package.
I was just
Whenever-
asking a question is all.
Whenever we buy a new car, the radios are taken out and putting into the new car. And if they're not working, we
Right.
get new ones. I mean, I'm not sure what we need to talk about.
Well, it's a higher level of technology, which does not require the cars to be running constantly, was Joe's point.
Well,
There's
and
other
you know,
reasons why
it
the car
touches
runs
on the new
constantly.
building because solar has become very big thing. This is a subject for another time.
Okay.
Yeah, so at this time, yeah,
Thank
go
you,
ahead.
No, you're on it. I mean, it's a second reading. We have a finance committee meeting. We've already established that. I'm just trying to move this along. I told you guys we would be 15, 20 minutes. These are very important questions. But again, I know that we have opportunities to have the finance meeting and go further in this. We could talk about safety all night, but if we want a safety meeting, we need to do that. I'm trying to, I have somewhere to be and I want to value everybody else's time tonight as well.
I believe it's time to, we are at the end of our agenda. So I believe
Nope.
it's time.
We got one last piece.
We have one more? Okay, I thought we were at the end of the agenda. Read that last thing.
Yeah, ordinance 10, 2021. An ordinance to make supplemental appropriations for the current expense of the village of Minerva Park for the year of 2021 with intent, it looks like, to waive readings. Would you like to explain yourself on this one, Madam Mayor?
Yes, this is the same thing as the original one. All this is moving the money for the facility building. We already have money in there for the $116,000. This is the advance. The reason that there's two lines in different amounts is they explained it to me and I would sound like a fool if I tried to re-explain what Kim and them said. So there is a difference between $6,000 and that has something to do with, yeah, sure. It has to do with the money that's already in the fund.
Okay, having already said we can borrow that money, we now need to put it into its proper slot so it can be used.
Correct. And this does not need to be done as an emergency because it's an appropriation, but we do need to waive the readings.
Gotcha. I will open it up real quick for discussion before I move to waive the readings. Anyone have anything they want to say on it? All right, then I'll move to waive readings.
Second,
Moved and seconded.
All right. Councilperson Berger,
Aye.
Councilperson Curl,
I,
Councilperson McNamara.
Aye.
Council President Wolf,
aye.
Councilperson Benedetti,
No,
Councilperson Shrimp.
Okay.
Perfect. All right, we are done with all of that.
Wait, hold on. Diane, was that a nay?
It's an aye, and then it
Aye,
goes
okay.
along with the other ayes, right?
Yeah. I just didn't hear you. I thought I heard the other, so I
Okay.
just wanted to make sure we were recording it properly.
I heard abstain. I don't know.
Okay, sorry, I'm multitasking. old business, new business. Don't know which one's first, but whichever one you got.
No, we still have to.
You gotta
Sorry,
pass.
sorry, I'm trying to get done. Okay.
I know. Having waived the second and third reading,
Waved.
I move to pass ordinance 10/2021.
All
Second.
right. Councilperson Curl,
Aye.
Council President Wolf,
Aye.
Councilperson Shrimp,
Aye.
Councilperson McNamara.
Aye.
Councilperson Benedetti,
No,
and Councilperson Bruger.
Aye.
All right, and old business, new business, old business. Let's start with that. I don't know which one's on the agenda first. I'm not looking at it. All right, whichever one I just said, the opposite.
On new business, we need to set up a street meeting again.
Okay, do you want to email everybody?
Yes.
When
Sorry,
are we
I'm
gonna
supposed to be
have-
showing a
whoa,
house
whoa,
in
whoa.
30 minutes.
Have we
What's up?
got, what are we talking about, Joe? Because I thought the last we had, talked about waiting until we got the information from Flo.
Want to coordinate how to, it could be a brief Zoom thing, but I want to coordinate how to go over some of the results we have from some of this camera work. And then I'd like to have a meeting with the foreman of the camera company so I can get some.
I don't see that
information.
happening, Joe. I don't have a meeting with the,
So the
Well,
way
you
that it
don't have to come, Tony.
So the way that it typically works, we have Flowline that comes out. Flowline is supposed to be in the village as of today. Not sure with the rain if they actually did show up today or not. I'm trying to get an update for you guys. Did you see them?
they were on they were red.
They were
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
So they are currently in the village. Mike Flickinger is our engineer, does coordinate with them. There is communication going back and forth, trying to get some additional pricing for that particular area. I do not have the additional information yet. But Mike Flickinger is in communication. That information is weeks, if not months away. That's typically how it works, that they go get all the CCTV, they analyze it, then they get it to Mike, and then Mike's team all analyzes it. So this is not going to be something we turn around in 2 weeks.
Well,
Just
that's
as
the
an
new
FYI.
work, but I've never gone over what they've already done. That's
Right.
been a long time.
Joe,
So,
haven't you been on the street committee last year?
no,
Yes, I believe
Yes, you
so.
were there. That's part of the problem is that you never came to any of the meetings that we've gone over all this stuff. That's why I get a little bit upset in that you want to talk about stuff.
well,
Already
Tony, you
talked
might think I
about-
haven't gone over this stuff, but I've been going over it every day. I live in this stuff because the sewers come through my house.
I get that,
So-
Joe.
I paid a lot of attention to this.
Well, you haven't.
Okay.
But-
This is a sewer conversation. And again, I promised everybody, I was not going to keep everybody
Right.
there. So I scheduled a showing at 8 o'clock on the other side in the west side. So you guys can carry on this
I just-
conversation. I gotta go. So
I
you
just
guys-
want to be up to date without long delays on the new camera work.
we don't get that. As soon as it hits my email, it's time stamped, and I do make this promise. You guys get it as soon as I get it. I have
Yeah,
always done that.
okay. If the engineer and the camera guy and the mayor sit on it, then we don't get to see it. So,
And they don't, Joe. There's no indication that they do. So I feel like it's time for you to schedule your streets meeting. And if we're not going to do that right now by pulling out calendars, you can email people.
Yeah.
And we
Well,
also have Monday night.
we agreed to do it by email. I'm trying to
Okay.
not extend the meeting.
Then at this time, I would move that we adjourn.
Second.
Second,
All in favor? All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
all right.